Congratulations. My name is Richard E. Ashby Jr., and I am the proud president of the Black Caucus of the American Library Association, and we are about to embark on history this afternoon. This afternoon, we will have our first virtual commencement for our wonderful graduates with an LIS degree. We have some wonderful people who have joined us to help celebrate. We have Ms. Tracy Hall from ALA, M. Claire Knowles. We have the Vice President-elect Shantae Burns, and we have a special guest, Ms. Shalisa Barrett. She is our student graduate, and this afternoon is going to be wonderful. The Black Caucus of American Library Association is celebrating our 50th anniversary. I always like to say that the Black Caucus is the granddaddy of them all, and we are proud. We are strong, stronger than ever, and we just want to invite everyone to have a good time this afternoon, enjoy and celebrate our graduates. It is a big deal to graduate. It is a wonderful thing to be a librarian. We call ourselves the culture keepers, and that's what we are. And today we are definitely keeping the culture going with bringing these new librarians into the fold. And I for one, am so very excited. We hope we all are safe and sound at home and during this period of this pandemic that we're going through. But you know what? God makes no mistakes. Everything happens for a reason. And if this pandemic was not going on, we would not have had our virtual conference last week. We will not be having this virtual graduation today. And there's so many things that has opened up to us because of this season. And so we want everyone to embrace the season, learn from it, and move forward. And so at this time, I would like to introduce our speaker, our student speaker this afternoon. Her name is Chelsea Barrett. She is graduating from Rutgers University in New Brunswick with a Master's of Information and and it was concentration in library and informational science. In January of this year, Chelsea was offered and accepted a full-time position, woohoo, coming out of school, working girl, that's what I'm talking about, as a business librarian position at Seton Hall, which has been listed as one of the best value colleges in the nation. Ladies and gentlemen, graduates, I give to you Miss Chelsea Barrett.
Thank you so much, Richard. And thank you all too who are in attendance, family, friends, colleagues, mentors, mentees, esteemed guests, and all who have supported each and every one of us in our journey to this moment. To my fellow 2020 graduates, congratulations to all on such an amazing accomplishment. To get this degree is an honor that we should not take lightly. To be called a librarian is a title of distinction that we should all be proud to bear, and a title that we should wear with pride. To have finished in the midst of a pandemic shows our resilience and our persistent strength in times of peril and uncertainty. You deserve all the accolades, my friends, so relish in this day and be proud in it. As LIS professionals, the skills that we have learned throughout our degrees will be our greatest armor and our greatest weapon as we go forth into our profession. We go out into the world now to carve out our niche as information professionals of color. Though we may have obstacles to overcome, we have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that we can rise to the occasion. Our journeys will not be the same, and we may have to fight a bit harder at times, but we all have the foundational knowledge that we need to succeed wherever we may go. And even more than that, we will get through it together. Collaboration, cooperation, and support are the keys to success in this profession, and that is what will get us to success. My mentor, Mr. Clevell Roseborough, was the one who pushed me to enroll in library school because he saw my potential where I was unable to. And because of his constant guidance and dedication to my growth, I was able to secure an amazing tenure faculty position at a well-known academic institution before I graduated. That is why it is important that we each help each other within this profession and keep up with the organizations that allow us to do so. We are all a family of information professionals, and we should never let that go. Let us now go forth and show the world what we are made of. We have the keys to success now, so let's open all the doors that have been locked for so long. Class of 2020, we did it. Now let's keep on doing it. Let's keep on keeping on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chelsea. That was beautiful. So good afternoon. I'm Shantae Burns-Simpson, the VP of BCLA, and I'm so thrilled to be celebrating the future leaders in librarianship. Librarians are adaptable, oversharers, and welcomers. We cringe at the shh, be quiet stereotype, and we welcome collaboration and community building. We are experts and enthusiasts, creators and communicators. We are needed. And to support you in your time of becoming librarians, we are extending 1 free year of membership to BCLA. This is our present to all of you that's participating today in this virtual commencement. So congratulations, and we look forward to you being members. So now let's also talk about what else is needed at this time, and that's words of wisdom. And so I have the proud opportunity of introducing the amazing Tracy Hall. In February 2020, Tracy D. Hall was appointed the American Library Association's 10th Executive Director in its 143rd year history. In her new role, Hall oversees the oldest and largest library association in the world, made up of 57,000 members and more than 200 staffers. Hall is the first female African-American executive director in ALA's history. During her career, she has worked at the Seattle Public Library, the New Haven Free Library, Queens Public Library, Hartford Free Public Library, and as Assistant Dean of Dominican University's Graduate School of Library and Information Science. In 1998, she was among the first cohort of ALA's Spectrum Scholars, a grant program to diversify librarianship. and served as the director of ALA's Office for Diversity in the early 2000s. She was highlighted as a mover and shaker in the field by Library Journal early in her tenure at ALA. And while they co-authored Diversity Counts, the first comprehensive study of race and ethnic representation in the field. Hall has amassed career achievements outside of libraries as well. Most recently, Hall directed the culture portfolio at the Chicago-based Joyce Foundation, developing new grant programs designed to foster greater equity and diversity in arts administration and scale neighborhood-based arts venues, cultural programming, and creative entrepreneurship. Prior to that, she served as Deputy Commissioner of Chicago's Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events, has also worked as a strategist for the Boeing Company and in several nonprofit organizations. A civic leader in Chicago, Hall was appointed to serve on the City of Chicago's Cultural Advisory Council at the beginning of 2020. In addition to her MLIS from the Information School at the University of Washington, Hall holds an MA in International Area Studies with an emphasis on Sub-Saharan Africa from Yale University and dual bachelor's degrees in Law and Society and Black Studies from the University of California, Santa Barbara. She has also studied at the Universities of Nairobi and Dar es Salaam in East Africa. Hall was born and raised in South Central Los Angeles. Let's give a warm welcome to the inspiring Tracy D. Hall.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. And I just want to say good afternoon, class of 20, and good afternoon to everyone who's joining us. I'm coming to you from my home in Chicago, and specifically from the Pullman neighborhood. Many of us have family labor histories that intersect with that of the Pullman Porters. Throughout this address, you will be hearing the ambient noises, families and children walking, passing car radios blasting of this contemporary geography made historic by George Pullman, by A. Philip Randolph, and the Pullman Porters themselves. It is my great pleasure to have been asked by the Black Caucus of the American Library Association, which celebrates its 50th year anniversary this year, to bring this first virtual commencement address for graduating LIS students of color. BCLA has been a home for me throughout my career. Its members and its leaders have served as mentors and as examples for me when I was first seeking to find a place to merge my identity as an activist, as an artist, and librarian. I can say without a doubt, and I really can say this without a doubt, that it has been the example of the Black Caucus alongside the American Indian Library Association, the Asian Pacific American Librarians Association, the Chinese American Librarians Association, and Reforma that has guided my practice as a librarian. And I want to tell you that I am using the term practice intentionally rather than work or service, because the idea of an arts practice goes beyond the activity of making art and extends to include the influences, ideas, approaches to materials, as well as the evolution in the artist's skill set and choice of tools. And as a librarian, I would say that is what has happened for me. So I am not working or necessarily simply serving as a librarian. I am practicing. I am still practicing. Because I look to activist librarians and library stewards of color, such as Arturo Schomburg and Pura Belpre, Virginia Lacey Jones, Dr. E.J. Josie, who founded the Black Caucus, A.P. Marshall, Dudley Randall, and Audre Lorde, and Vivian Harsh, the first African-American librarian in the city of Chicago, that both I and the American Library Association, where I am the first African-American woman to serve as the executive director, call home. I also use practice to suggest the demands that being, in my case, a Black librarian, place on me to be continuously advancing my effectiveness at breaking down any and all barriers that exclude or limit equitable access to libraries, and more broadly, to literacy and information access. As I look into your faces, the faces of our newest library and information science graduates, I see not only your light, but the light of generations of ancestors, known and unknown, who sacrificed and sometimes just fought to stay alive against all odds to get you and us to this point. I want to speak to the power of the degree that you now hold and of the acquired knowledge and powerful capacity that it suggests. And I want to confess, this is not so much a speech as it is an invitation to revolution. Activist librarian Audre Lorde, who earned her library degree from Columbia University in 1961, once wrote, "Sometimes we are blessed with being able to choose the time and the arena and the manner of our revolution, but more usually, we must do battle where we are standing." This afternoon, mine is a call and entreatment to not wait for the right job or opportunity, but to start an information revolution right where you stand. And I mean right where you stand. It is the urgency of a fundamental change, the overthrow, if you will, of information disparity, inequitable access to literacy, information, and technology that brings me to the American Library Association and back to library and information science at this time after so long away. Because I am convinced, I am truly convinced that information and digital enfranchisement is, in the 21st century, just as full and equitable civil rights and voting enfranchisement was in the 20th century, America's, the world's, unfinished business. Digital enfranchisement is an extension of literacy. And I want to be intentional in my use of the term literacy, for I am not talking about simply individual reading ability, but the right to read. In 1963, BCALA's own founder, Dr. E.J. Josey, illuminated this right in his editorial, Libraries and Emancipation Centennial, Libraries and Emancipation Centennial, for a journal published by the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. In it, Dr. Josey asks, what can libraries do in helping the country to solve the problem of this unfinished business, which he identifies as the full integration of African Americans into the political, economic, and educational fabric of life in this nation? Josey advised that libraries should actively engage the issues of housing and school segregation, inequitable employment access, and be intentional in helping African Americans navigate new technologies. In this writing, Josey reflects on President Franklin D. Roosevelt's 4 freedoms: the freedom of speech, the freedom of worship, the freedom from want, and the freedom from fear. And he introduces the ability to read as the 5th freedom. He later connects the notion of reading to technology or digital literacy and access, and closes his editorial by insisting on an idea of libraries as what he calls arsenals of a democratic culture. I have been reading and rereading Dr. Josey's editorial for some time now, because my own belief is that the right to read is indeed a universal human right, and that is what drove me to a career in libraries. And like Dr. Josey, who I am grateful to, and I'm grateful that I've gotten to know him, and his influence still looms large on my career, I have come to understand that in our age, reading, digital access, and democratic enfranchisement are clearly and utterly linked. It is not lost on me then that our being together today for this commencement is made possible by our own access to technology, devices as well as Wi-Fi, and further, the ability to navigate and troubleshoot their iterations and parameters. And though many of us may see digital access as ubiquitous, it is anything but. 28% of Americans do not use the internet at all. A recent FCC, Federal Communications Commission report stated that 21 million Americans fully lack broadband internet access. An estimate that the then commissioner allowed was likely a severe undercount. To expand beyond the US, only half the world's population now uses the internet. In this way, those of us here on this platform enjoy a real and certain privilege, and a privilege which, in light of the current coronavirus pandemic, with which we are all wrestling and which necessitates so many of our essential convenings being held online, we can no longer abide. In urban and rural communities across this country, the coronavirus has disproportionately impacted right along the lines of race and income, with Blacks, Latinos, and indigenous residents becoming infected and dying at higher rates than their peers. Those that work in health services, along with librarians and informationists, are seeing a correlation between inequitable health outcomes and access to technology. For instance, the incredible and historic city of Detroit, which has the lowest rate of internet access of any big American city, with only 4 in 10 of its residents having access to internet broadband, according to FCC, is also one of the cities where COVID-19 contagion rates are disproportionately high and impactful. Alongside access to food, to social service supports, to medical care, and to public transportation, all determinants in the overall health of a community population. The American Medical Informatics Association contends that access to broadband internet service should be included as a indicator due to the growing role that internet access plays in connecting patients to the care due to the growing interdependency on the internet that they need to rely on for their health maintenance. And here, I just want to stop and I want to share a story that for me illuminates this reality. A few weeks ago, heading into the office AOA downtown, I called a rideshare service because several years of living on the East Coast have left me ambivalent about the idea of car ownership. I waited with a mask as the service arrived, and both me and the driver, the service indicated, would need to wear a mask for mutual protection. But when my driver arrived maskless, I asked if he would like one of the extra masks I packed. He shared, after he eagerly accepted, that he'd lucklessly been searching for masks everywhere. Because my neighborhood, Pullman, which I described earlier, on Chicago's far south side, has been designated as a hotspot in the city for the virus, I have been receiving and looking for online updates on where you could find masks and PPE giveaway locations. And so I told him about 2 or 3 that were nearby. "Where did you hear that?" he asked excitedly, asking if I would repeat the locations at the end of our journey. I assured him that I would. And I shared that I had found the information online using my phone, the same access point that he had that had connected us for the rideshare. "This," he gestured, "I just use this to find out where to pick people up and where to drop them off." "Oh," he added, "and to talk to my wife." We both laughed at that last part. But that relay is serious. It's quite serious, and it's something that I can't get out of my mind, because here is someone with the drive of entrepreneurship and someone who obviously valued information enough to make sure that I provided him with the details on the mask giveaway at the end of our journey. Clearly, merely having access to the internet is not in itself enough. A 2019 Pew survey of offline Americans found that 32% said the internet was simply too difficult to use. Another 19% said the cost of owning a computer and getting the internet was another barrier. The United Nations has identified the imperative of universal internet access, which it defines as getting 90% of the global population online, as a central goal. But some experts argue that at this pace, we won't reach that milestone for at least another 30 years. And I'm here to argue that we cannot wait. In this pandemic, we have seen what even a week can cost a community. How much more the cost of universal digital access in an era where even the most primary information about employment, about social services, local government interaction, and resident and public health services are all online. We are on the precipice of a next and needful revolution, one that will eliminate information and digital access disparity and the systems and biases that propagate it. As Dr. Merlene Regetz wrote in the Journal of Applied Philosophy, that is Dr. Merton Regetz wrote in the Journal of Applied Philosophy, internet access is no luxury, but instead a moral and human right that everyone should have. Everyone should have unmonitored and uncensored access to this global medium, provided free of charge for those unable to afford it. Without such access, he continued, many people lack a meaningful way to influence and hold accountable supranational rulemakers and institutions. These individuals simply don't have a say in the making of the rules they must obey and which shape their life chances. If, in my estimation, the first great wave of library information services came in the 18th through early 20th century, when we worked to pull the public towards reading literacy, and then again in the latter 20th century, the second wave in which we helped to introduce technological literacy into the populace, then the next and the third great wave of library and information science will be to universalize broadband internet access and to tackle any barriers that exist on any adjacencies to this now fundamental platform. And as an extension of the right to read, free internet access must be considered a human right. In an interview following his re-election, Major Rudell Owens, a former librarian, anti-poverty organizer, and state senator who served 12 terms in the U.S. House of Representatives and who died October 21, 2013 in New York, reflected, I would like to spend my next 2 years showing how the aim of making technology available to every young person can be built into the effort to make our nation more secure. That is my latest concern, and that is what I will be pushing over the next 2 years. Before his death, Major Owens had devoted the remainder of his career to the digital enfranchisement that I speak of. He understood that without expanded broadband access, millions of students would be disconnected, such as now, when digital technology is the only means of access to school. A 2018 study found that 13% of white students were sometimes unable to complete homework due to internet access, compared to 17% of Latino students and 25% of Black students surveyed. As schools close due to the pandemic and students and teachers must rely on distance learning, our slowness to fight for universal internet access as a profession and as a society will be held against us. But I hang on to something that I encountered years ago. University School of Information. And these S.R. Ranganathan's, the great Indian librarian and philosopher's classic 5 Laws of Library Science. In 1931, Ranganathan wrote laws so eloquent in their simplicity as to understate their power. The first law, books are for use. The second law, every reader his or her book. The third law, every book its reader. The fourth law, save the time of the reader. The library is a growing organism. Each of these laws suggest the possibility of their own radical impact. But it is the fifth law that holds the seed of the revolution that I now speak of. The library is a growing organism. I believe that our next work for the field and for the world is equitable and universal digital access, what I call digital enfranchisement, and what other colleagues have extended to the notion of data democracy. Unless we take up this work now, parts of this country and the world will remain cut off from the full universe of knowledge building information. Together, graduates, you and I must, like Dr. E.J. Josey and Major Owens and all the others that I have named and not, we must dedicate ourselves to expanding reading and digital literacy and broadband infrastructure and access. We cannot wait. We simply cannot wait. To wait is a luxury of privilege that we have neither earned nor deserved. We must see to it, as Octavia Butler might say, half of the world is looking to us. The relevancy of libraries and the relevancy of librarians and information science professionals stand in the balance. So this today is a call to action, a call to start the revolution that will end the informatics disparity right where you stand. I'm going to say that again because this is a call to action. This is a call to start the revolution that will end the informatic disparity that exists all around us, right where we stand. If you would call yourself a librarian, this revolution for equity is an imperative because libraries are necessarily created of the people to serve the people. And I want to quote here as I end. I want to quote the Argentinian writer and librarian, Jorge Luis Borges, who says, "The library must endure, and the library will endure, for it is the universe." I end here my call to revolution, and I want to say congratulations to each and every one of you graduates. And I want to say deeper congratulations also to your families and to all of the support systems that got you to where you are today. This is just the beginning. We have a fight on our hands. Won't you join me? Congratulations and thank you. Thank you, Black Caucus. Thank you so much. And thank you to the legacy of Dr. E.J. Josey and all of the activist librarians, Audre Lorde and others who are watching us right now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tracy D. Hall. Thank you for that call to action. So now we are honored to include longtime LIS professor and BCLA member, Dr. M. Claire Knowles. Dr. Knowles serves as the Assistant Dean of the Simmons University's College of Organizational, Computational, and Information Sciences. She received her BA degree in International Relations in 1973 from the University of California and her MLS degree in 1975 from University of California, Berkeley. She later obtained her MPA degree in Public Administration in 1986 from California State University and her PhD degree in Library and Information Science in 1988 from Simmons College. In 2001, Knowles was appointed to the Massachusetts Board of Library Commissioners as only the second African-American to be appointed to the board. And in 2006, Knowles became the first African-American to serve as chair. She has been elected to several boards, including Beta Phi Mu and BCALA. Dr. Knowles is retiring after 45 years of service as a library and information professional and scholar. Please join me in welcoming Dr. M. Claire Knowles.
Thank you for that introduction. President Ashby, Vice President Burns Simpson, special guests, colleagues, family, and friends. It is my privilege to confer the master's degrees of Library and Information Science to the graduates who have met all the conditions and requirements as prescribed by the respective academic institutions. Now, I will present each of them by name and institution. Adelise N. Cruz, Simmons University. Andrea M. Hayes, North Carolina Central University. Angela Brooks, from Catholic University of America. April Ravenel, University of Maryland, College Park. Asha Mobley, Rutgers University. Brenda Turnage, from the University of South Florida. Chelsea H. Barrett, Rutgers University, New Brunswick. Cynthia Childs, San Jose State University. Aba Amara, University of Missouri, Columbia. John A. Light Jr., Syracuse University. Joyce Egby Novia, University of Maryland, College Park. Juan Pablo Gonzalez, University of Maryland, College Park. Carl Anthony Freeman II, University of Maryland, College Park. Carmen Thompson, University of Maryland, College Park. Kem C. Bailey, Long Island University, CW Post. Kimberly Fillmore, SUNY, University of Buffalo. Marlia Holmes, San Jose State University. Nix Therese Mendy, Simmons University. Nairi Jackson, Rutgers University. Raven Miller, North Carolina Central University. Sheila Hawthorne, University of Tennessee, Knoxville. Taryn Fouché, CUNY Queens College. Tobias Kroom, Valdosta State University. Tony Cooks, University of Oklahoma. Tyler Nicole Franklin, University of Oklahoma. Zayden Taethong, University of Maryland, College Park. Please join me in recognizing all our graduates with signs of applause and hugs. Cheers to all. Thank you.
Thank you so much for conferring our graduates. Dr. Knowles. Hello, everyone. Hello, class of 2020. Hello, family and friends. My name is Shannon Bland, and I am the founder of the online community at Black Librarians. And I just want to say congratulations to the class of 2020. I know these are turbulent times, these are crazy times, but please do not forget to take some time out during this time and be sure to celebrate yourself and all that you have accomplished. Please remember all those beautiful images of your classmates that we just showed, and just remember that you're not in this thing alone. And please take heed to all those nuggets that were shared today, carving your own niche out in the field, you know, taking advantage of this season, and all of those gems Tracy dropped on us. You know, a call to librarianship is a call to revolutionize, you know, the call to action, just everything that was shared today. Always keep that in mind moving forward. Always remember to be true to who you are. Do not change. Do not feel the pressures of this society to conform to this society. Remain true to your culture. So I just want you guys to keep that in mind. Once again, congratulations. I'm so excited and honored to be here with you guys and honoring you. And you've done all the work. Now it's time to celebrate.